Do we have Alparslan Hocam back? Okay, here it is. Making co-host. Okay, I think now, again, I think that is an example of what we might expect with the Zoom sometime. So we'll have some issue, but hopefully you can bear with us. So again, we apologize for some issue, but I think overall the system is good. We try to learn, and when I change the device, it seems like it just shut it down. Now, are we ready? Is that if it okay that I can just start it, share the screen, and move to the syllabus?
Yes.
Yes, ready?
Evet hocam.
Okay,
Yes.
let me see. Okay, can you see the syllabus right now?
Yes, we can hocam.
Okay, so this is the syllabus for my course. That again, it's basically, it is a practical approach to the new understanding of science through five-dimensional thinking. In a sense that our objective here is more practical, to come up with certain methodology to basically provide a new understanding of science and develop an educational material based on this methodology. So it's very much linked to what Alparslan Hocam mentioned, but in his basically, we can say it is the foundational that provide epistemological, ontological basis for our methodology. In mine, we will have some discussion on that matter, but mostly we'll focus on methodology in terms of how we can practically develop certain things to have a new understanding of science. We basically, we're going through the website and we introduce this as well. I call it this as a five-dimensional thinking model. In which that we try to go beyond the one-dimensional modern scientific understanding, that we call it mainly the modern science is analytical, that try to get the observational data and analyze, and then reach our to deduction, or mainly to induction, to help us to get some understanding. Though we are not anti-science or against science in any way, we think that those empirical, observation-based, analytical studies are very useful in terms of providing certain instruments, let's say technology, that we develop out of the scientific enhancement. But we think that first of all, this is only one dimension is limited. Second is that this dimension, as it is presented now, comes with certain ideology that we will name it a secular ideology. So our objective here is try to first desecularize or filter the ideology from science in the first dimension that we call a scientific thinking or analytical thinking dimension. And then the second dimension, we're going to basically, we call it analogical thinking. So in analogical thinking, our objective is to use analogy is a main instrument in terms of pedagogical methods to help us to further understand the subject. Whatever subject we study, we'll try to understand based on certain analogy, because our subject is mainly, it's about what we call natural phenomena. That's some things that is outside or inside us, that is not man-made. So in that case, we try to really make sense of this. Then we use analogy by basically comparing those outside things or non-human things with the human or man-made things to have better sense of it. And we have, again, a certain reason to do that. And the third dimension that we call critical thinking dimension. So our objective here is to have people to engage in critical thinking, mainly questioning what is presented to them. So in a sense that in our objective here is mainly we try to look at the deep reality behind what we observe or call phenomenal reality. And then we try to see whether this modern scientific explanation on that matter, particularly its causational explanation, its deterministic, reductionist explanation, whether this or is a concept of nature and laws or natural laws or certain properties, whether those are the things that can really explain this observed phenomena, and or whether there's some things even further behind that. That's we try to accomplish that in critical thinking dimension. And the fourth dimension is meditative thinking now, and in that dimension we try to discover this hidden reality or discover the power behind that observed phenomena, and understand the attributes of the doers of the creator within this, again, manifested phenomena that we call the meditative thinking. And finally, our objective here to derive certain moral lessons or character lessons in terms of how to live a good life, how to be a better human being, how to develop a good characters. So in this case, our ultimate objective is not just to find the deep reality behind this observed phenomenal reality that's modern science deal with, is to actually try to derive certain moral lessons as well, and to see how it can help us to gain that. So if we look at, let's say, in another way, we can say, or in first dimension, that we just looking, let's say, any phenomena out there. Let's say you look, and we're looking at an apple. And apple, again, what it is and how you can explain apple. And science can provide certain information in terms of, let's say, biology will talks about the cells, we talk about the cell structure, we talks about, against the biological body of apple. And then we can go to chemistry, we can go to physics, they can provide further information about apple. But we'll say this is all, again, very helpful and useful, but it is not sufficient. It's just, this is the observed phenomena. But we'll use the scientific information without ascribing this to causes or nature or chances. That's what we call first dimension. So in a second dimension, we try to compare, let's say, apple with man-made, apple. What is apple? It's a dessert. So we can compare with, let's say, another man-made dessert, like, let's say, a baklava that, Turkish people know very well. So we try to see how it can be compared in terms of how it's made, how, beneficial they are for human beings. So, and that's basically the comparison that help us to further understand and appreciate apple, let's say, as a special dessert in one way, as a food for our body, for our, let's say, enjoyment. And the third dimension is, our objective here is, like, in a sense that I call it this, like, La ilaha part of the Kalimat Tawheed. That's first we need to see Allah behind this phenomena, behind apple. So we need to somehow to negate the other option or other possibilities, that whether this apple is just the product of natural process, or whether this apple is just the product of evolutionary process, or whether this apple is just emerged out of certain natural laws, or whether this apple is actually direct work of God. So in that case, is a third dimension, we will have people to engage in critical thinking, to somehow to negate those ideological embedded knowledge in science related to, let's say, this phenomena. And the fourth dimension, then we'll try to basically, in this case, see who is the maker and what are the attributes of the maker that we can know through apple. And our methodology in this part is we'll try to look at the interconnectivity, and modern science looked at reductionism. We try to look at the connectivity, that how Apple is connected to body and how Apple is connected to the sun, how Apple connected to gravity, how Apple connected to the entire universe, perhaps, in a sense that we don't get Apple out of, let's say, limited condition, we get Apple within the factory of entire universe. Then that interconnectivity will lead us to conclude that the maker of Apple must be the maker of entire universe. So, and that's, again, we'll try to reflect on the certain attributes of the maker through this dimension. And again, the fifth dimension, then when we look at this, let's say, the specially made and amazing and useful and beneficial, let's say, dessert, then we'll try to see how we should express our appreciation in words and in action, in terms of, again, being kind to others because it's a kind gift for us. Against that, do use this one for good things and be thankful, appreciate. So, and again, we'll have it in this dimension, drive certain moral lessons. That's basically, again, this, the essence of the course. So what we're going to do here, so we're going to mainly follow this book that I mentioned that we published last year through Routledge. And this is somehow, I'll call it, is basically, it is a guidebook of applied practical approach to the new understanding of science. And the book is titled The Sayyid Nursi and Science in Islamic Character Building Through Nursi's Ma'na Harfi. So Nursi's Ma'na Harfi is the main idea behind that. And then we will also have some selected topics from Nursi's writing, several topics that we'll assign, we'll discuss them. And then we'll have at least 3 examples from the workbooks that we are working on, and to really to show how we can apply this methodology in particular subjects. In our case, that we're looking biology, earth science, and physics. That 3 subjects that we are actively working on. In terms of the structure, that's the structure. So today, tomorrow, we're going to have joint lecture. And then after that, we will have it this week 2 other lectures that basically we talk about the problem first, secularization problem and Islamization of science, in terms of give some background and history. And that's mainly what's discussed in chapter 1. And then we will have a guest speaker. We are, again, planning that will be next week on Tuesday. That, again, will be joined. And after that, we'll cover the chapter 2 from the book, and chapter 2 again is something that's mostly I benefited from Dr. Aslan's works, and I think it will be way better to cover together. So we'll have a joint session when we'll discuss the epistemological side, part of the subjects, and we call the knowledge uncertainty. And that will be lecture 5, but will be 2 days because this will be joint again as we do now. So next week again, 3 days will be joint. And after that, again, we will have it chapter 3. That's mainly, we're going to focus on the worldviews, secular worldviews and Tawhidi worldviews. And then after that, we will focus on the meaning, and particularly meaning crisis in modern times, and the meanings in terms of Ma'na Harfi, and the meanings in terms of how to read the universe like in an elegant book, and how we can develop certain, again, methodology to do that, and that we're going to cover that. And then after that, again, we will mainly focus on the pedagogical side. That basically will try to see how we can develop certain educational materials. We'll cover some approach for teaching strategies. We'll go over certain the materials as an examples of how to apply this 5D thinking to a particular topics. So again, our objective is basically, first, we're going to focus on the problem to understand what is the problem with modern science and why we need to address and care about this problem. And then we will going to focus on epistemology, knowledge, certainty of knowledge, and that will be the second part. And then we'll focus on the worldview. And after that, that will be Tawhidi worldview and secular worldview. And then after that, we're going to discuss the meaning and Ma'na Harfi, that's the essential idea behind this 5D thinking. And then finally, we're going to talk about certain educational materials that we have developed and to see how it can be applied. That's basically what I can say about the syllabus. And then what we have, it's basically we'll have a reading assignment, and the reading assignments will be with deadline and with guideline, what is expected from you. Essentially, we want you to read both textbook and then certain again assigned topics from Nursi's writing, and then we will ask you to have a brief reflection of what you read, and we'll provide the guideline in terms of what's expected. Yeah, I think that's all from my side. Alparslan Hocam.
There is a question to you in the chat room. Do you want me to read it, or you want to read yourself?
No, you can read. Yeah, you can read it. And
so this is concerning the first dimension. Mehmet is saying, is it really possible to secularize the ideology from existing knowledge because of inclusion of value of judgment to define criteria of filter to determine what is pure knowledge and what is value loaded? Because we still use a cognitive tool or a mind which is already Islamically loaded. Or do we need to directly say that we are constituting a knowledge which is Islamically loaded as an alternative to the orthodoxy of Western epistemology?
I think so. That's quite a deep question, isn't it? So I think that is, in a sense, that perhaps the best answer to this question will be, should be clear once we cover those subjects. I don't think it would be fair to really, or it will be even possible to come up with good answer to this question. I think because there are various issues or various things that address in this question. The question is whether is it possible to desecularize, or the question is that, or are we going to just actually, providing, that we have a secular ideology led in, let's say, science, now are we going to provide, let's say, Islamic version of this, again, ideology-laden kind of knowledge? Or so again, is there's going to be another subjective way of looking science, or is there objective science? And again, those are really a very, very important question. And I think we will have a very interesting discussion about all of those. First of all, what is knowledge? How do we gain our knowledge? And what is this scientific knowledge now that is presented to us? How much of this is really objective? What does objective knowledge mean? What do you mean by objective knowledge? Can we be objective even when we look at the current, let's say, Western scientific understanding of philosophy of science? Can we really say that science is absolutely objective? That is, I think that those questions are very, and again, that can we say that when we provide, let's say, from Islamic perspective, is it again just another ideology? I think that's very valid concern and question as well. So in a sense that our concept we'll say our argument or our thesis that modern science is presenting knowledge through Ma'na Ismi. That's basically a modern science speaks about the universe in the name of causes, nature, and chance. Now, Ma'na Harfi will say that we need to speak about everything in the name of God. Now, the question in this case, naturally, isn't there another ideology that we have a secular ideology, now we're going to have Islamic ideology? Don't we need to have ideology-free science? Or can we have that? I really think those are very, very good questions. And I think that is exactly why we need to have such program, because we need to read those questions are actually discussed in those both textbook, and we need to see what, when Alparslan Hocam present his subject, we'll see that this concept of science, history of science, we see the Western scientific tradition, Islamic scientific tradition. So, and then we'll see, okay, yeah, science is not something that just emerged overnight. It has been really out there for a very long time, and it seems like Muslim had their own tradition, and Christian had their own tradition, and then when we got with Enlightenment, those against secular scientists, they developed their own tradition, and I think in particular Alparslan Hocam in his part is going to enlighten us a lot to really put everything within the right context first. And then after that we can again address those questions. I think it's better to say let's wait for those questions, let's keep those questions aside, but it's very important to raise those questions, but I think it is not going to be possible to answer those questions. We need the entire program to address those questions, but I hope, and at the end, once we make some progress in covering those topics, we will get a quite clear understanding of those topics that address within those questions. And I appreciate this question, but for now, I will leave it for the future. I don't know, Alparslan Hocam, do you have any answer to those questions? Do you want to answer now?
Very briefly, because he's referring to the contents of the mind. Anything that you have in your mind actually makes a framework. Just consider something like this. If your framework is something like this, when you look, you will see it in this shape. If it is square, you will see it square. If it is circle, you will see it circle. So if it is Islamic, you will see it Islamic. If it is secular, you will see it secular. So that is something that related to that, which means we need to study the epistemology of it, which provides the background for that. So inshallah, in the future, coming weeks, we'll discuss this in more detail, as you already indicated. So we need to introduce the textbooks also. Should we continue? We have
yes, please. Yeah.
We have about almost 10 minutes for a break.
Okay.
These are the secondary books that we will utilize, or primary, whatever, it depends from which perspective.
There are a couple of questions as well. Shall we ask this, or we'll spare this to the doctor?
Yes, please. Yeah, we can read.
Okay. How can we do this? If you wish, we can open the microphone and they can ask their question, or we can read the question. How we can do?
We should
I think. Also, we can hear from them as well. I think, like, again, the reason that we don't want to really turn on mic for everyone, we have large class, it will not be efficient. But I think if we, let's say, or our colleague, if they somehow manage that one and give permission to those who want to speak, then maybe we can hear them as well. That might make it better for them to express their questions, perhaps.
Okay. Amin Ramazan have a question. If you wish, Amin Ramazan can ask his question. Brother Amin.
Yeah, let me read the question. If Dr. Najati, if you want to ask whether we received any inspiration from Sayyid Muhammad Naqib al-Attas, you will see when we continue, inshallah, in the coming weeks, you will see how much we have benefited from our Muslim scholars. So Riyaz Ahmad is asking, what is the impact of these 5 dimensions on Islamic epistemology? Maybe Dr. Najati, would you like to say something about this?
Yeah, again, I think the first one, as well as you mentioned, you will see that one, and I think we all, that's most works of Dr. Naqib al-Attas and benefited greatly, and we'll see that how it's really integrated into our program, and what are the additions that we have it, or what is the difference as well. I think that will be clear. Against the impact of the 5 Ds, I think that we're going to, that's why those are questions that we should address later on, because we are not, this is just very, very brief overview of what we're going to do. And so we will We'll spend a lot of time to go over those, and then I think we'll be better to really discuss that time. We'll address those issues in terms of epistemology, ontology, and phenomenology, so that there will be different dimensions of, this issue, and we'll cover those. And I think that time we can discuss those aspects as well. Yes, anything was...
These are the books that will primarily utilize, these 3 books. If you want to acquire them, please let us know. We'll give you the contact numbers, and they will give you better discounts when you want to buy. Okay? But as you know, we made the PDFs available so that you won't be behind the course, so you can follow it very well. But the most important one is, the Manay Harfi perspective that we are utilizing. So you should try to pay attention to that. I think Dr. Nejat will probably tell you about those reading materials from the Risale-i Nur collections.
Again, I think that is the materials we already posted there, they can get, but again, we mentioned it's really important that we don't share with anyone, because it's really copyrighted and we might have issue with the publisher. Besides that, if you really want to get it, that we can get a discounted price from the publisher for you. Those reading material from Risale, there will be links, and I think it's already maybe Brother Hussein can mention. So those Risale readings also available on the website, right? Can we talk about this website? And those who want to download the PDF, they can go and get those PDF version as well. Brother Said or Hussein, can you give some information on that? Because I remember there were some questions as well on those where they can find it, those materials in PDF.
You mean where to find those materials?
Yeah, remember there's one website that they can, what is that's about library thing?
Yes. I think Ihsan, he already mentioned that these the parts that we are supposed to read are already put in the website. Inshallah, we will share the link, and also we can also share the specific parts that you mentioned here as a PDF version in the reading list in the Google School website, classroom website. Okay. It will be shared.
Very good. So again, our objective here is that those are material directly related to the topic we're going to cover, and we'll try to read those topics within the context of the subject that we're going to cover. And I think that for that reason, it will be very interesting reading, even if you read it, some of you already read those topics and you might know very well. But we want you to read with a new perspective to see how you can provide some things and relate those topics to the subject that we're going to cover. And the other one, the example from the 5D Thinking workbooks, we'll post this. This will be available on the 5dthinking.org website, and we'll give link there that you can download it from there once we make progress on, after I think 3rd weeks.
Yeah. There is another question, 3 concepts concerning knowledge: Islamization, integration, and interconnection. We would say all of them are related to the 5D. So no problem. As we say, I know at the beginning you are asking many questions that we'll discuss in future. Already you have seen, Mohammed Saeed already gave you the link. From there you can reach the translations. If you know Arabic, we would I would recommend you to read the Arabic ones rather than the English one, because you see, Nursi, although he wrote in Turkish, but he never used Turkish words for technical terms. This is extremely important for us all, actually. Whatever language you speak, you cannot change the Arabic terminology. because those are standard, you know. So because of that, in English, unfortunately, many of those are lost, as you know. From time to time, they give in parentheses, you know, like Rabb, you know, they say Lord in English, as you know. And when you read it, you don't know what it really refers. It may refer to different things. So because of this, I would say, if you know Arabic, try to follow it from the Arabic translation, or you can comparatively, you know, look into the English, and then if you know, can compare and so on. So it will be much better. Okay, I think now we can continue. Necati Hocam, I think you are going to continue. There is only 1 minute left. Should we give a break and then come back in 15 minutes?
1 minute, or we have 3 minutes, isn't it? We have 3 minutes, I think.
Yeah, 3 minutes. It? 3 minutes. Yeah,
yeah.
We can.
So let's cover this slide, and after that we can break.
Okay.
So yeah, just you can put it all on the screen. So this is some rules for efficient learning experience. So we're going to start class sharp at 3:30, and the Zoom room will be closed 5 minutes after that. The latecomers will be kept at waiting room, and the TA will let them to get in after knowing who they are and why they are late. And so we expect everyone to be on time. 3 late coming will be count 1 full absent, and 3 full absences with a legitimate excuse will disqualify you for the certificate. So again, that we really, do not consider this as a threat, consider this as really a way of being more serious and dedicated and organized. And this is part of, we will learn Adatullah, that basically the laws of Allah for a better outcome if we want. So, and therefore we want to make sure that we will follow those rules and make it more effective. So the class will be divided into 2 parts. The first part will be from 3:30 to 4:45 p.m. And then we'll have 15-minute break. And then the part 2 will be from 5 to 6 p.m. So get some question from someone saying that the prayer, obviously, if we have a prayer, you can pause and go and pray and come. And of course, that we can, again, and we have people from, you know, all the very west of the world and to the east. And so, and obviously, you know, you can always pause and go and pray and come. But beside that, we want you to be there. And also, we really want everyone, we don't want to make it mandatory. We had a lot of discussion yesterday on this rule. We want everyone to have their camera on if possible. So we don't, again, we strongly recommend that, because if your camera on, that particularly when if we don't have slides, we can actually see you and see your reaction, so we can have better kind of experience as if we are having face-to-face teaching. So for that reason, we really appreciate that, you know, if you can turn on your camera and join us in that, if you could. And the attendance will be taken through Zoom tracking. There is such features within the Zoom, and actually will tell us when you enter in class and how long you stay there, and all this information is recorded there. So we'll follow that. We don't need to take attendance through asking questions and other things. Yes. Anything else, anything you want to add to those?
No, this is very good, I think. Should we continue? One more slide.
I think so we're 45 now, so we can give a break, and then we'll talk about the teaching methods after that. So we give 15-minute breaks, and then we'll meet after that.
Okay, then inshallah. Then see you all in 15 minutes. Assalamu alaikum.
Thanks.